Welcome to AARP, Arizona Hispanic Connection. Educate. Celebrate. Connect. Arizona Hispanic Connection.
Welcome to Arizona Barrio Stories. This is Irma coming to you from 147 East Adams. Come on down, come visit us. Feliz Año Nuevo. We are happy to have David Paraluna here today. He brings us nuggets of gold information that maybe you didn't know about. He is with AARP, Arizona Hispanic Connection. He gives us salud, dinero, y amor. And he is giving us a tidbit of information for 2025. David, Feliz Año Nuevo.
Feliz Año, Irma, and thank you so much for inviting me. First show, so we are calentando motores, right? You understand what that means? And after time off, which always helps, we're ready to start. And as you said, we have a new administration, and most of the times, or topics such as Social Security and Medicare are always topics that are considered with new administrations. I think it's no secret that the funding for the long term are always issues, not necessarily eminent, but so governments tend to always consider those programs. And at AARP, we pay attention closely to what happens to these two programs, primarily others, but Medicare and Social Security. And so this year is not going to be the exception. And we are going to be bringing these topics periodically, especially when there are updates, things to report. But this time, I would like us to review a new law that came into effect. The President Biden, actually, in his last days in office, he signed this law called the Social Security Fairness Act. I don't know if you had heard. I have a feeling that not a lot of people picked it up, but have you heard of the Social Security?
I heard about it today.
Oh, okay. I have to say, as one who has been following Social Security for many years now, this was a big deal. It's a law. It's a big change, I would say, a big change in the Social Security program. It may not apply to a lot of people or to most people, but it applies to a good number of folks. And this is called, again, the law is Social Security Fairness Act. In Social Security, there are two phrases or two provisions, if you will, that it might not resonate a lot with people. Let me just say them, right? One is the Windfall Elimination provision, and the second one is the government pension offset. I can almost guarantee that unless this applies to you, people had no clue about these two phrases. But these are very important provisions in the Social Security program. And the fact that this act signed by President Biden is called fairness. So that implies that these two concepts were unfair to many. Is that fair?
That's the impression I get.
Yes. If it's the Social Security Fairness Act, that means it's taking care of something was not fair. So should we explain what that unfairness is?
I hope so.
Or what?
To me, when I first read it, I thought, well, there must have been an inequity or something that if maybe, like you said, it doesn't affect all of us, but maybe there's a group of people that this really needs to be spoken about.
So let's kind of define it, and then we'll just go into a few points so that those that this applies to know exactly what to expect, right? So number one, the Windfall Elimination provision and the government pension offset has to do with a person who happens to earn, let's use the word earn, two different pensions. One covered by Social Security, and a second one not covered by Social Security. I'm sure you have heard that some government jobs have their own pension plans, and they do not pay into Social Security.
Correct.
But have you ever heard of someone at least?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Especially those that were teachers that work in government at some point. I believe these days the great majority of people pay into Social Security. But at least a few years ago, there were some government jobs and others that had pensions not covered by Social Security. And before they worked for that entity, during or after, or maybe they had a part-time, they also accrued their 40 quarters, their 40 points, their 40 credits. Remember those?
Yes. We
And
talked
that's
about that before.
Yes. And that's the minimum quarters points that you need, or the number of points that you need to have rights to a Social Security pension. So that would be your cover, a pension. Your cover pension would be one where you contributed to Social Security. That non-cover, that would be the one where you did not participate. So here's a person who ended up with two pensions, right? So before this Fairness Act, the Social Security Fairness Act signed by President Biden, you would get your not covered your not covered pension complete, untouched. That was yours to keep. But when it came to also apply for your benefit on Social Security, that Social Security pension would be reduced. And that's why many consider it to be unfair. I pay into this pension plan. I also paid into Social Security. Why can't I get both, right? They wouldn't. The law would not permit it. So a percentage of the not covered pension, a percentage of that would be applied. That would be that reduction by which this other pension would be offset or reduced. People did not like that. I actually know someone who is going to be very happy because of this. Now it just came to my mind. He works for the courts in California, and he has this kind of situation. All right. Is that kind of clear, Irma? Do you have any questions, any follow-up thoughts about this windfall elimination provision?
It makes sense, but I think the next one is the one that I would be interested in. Spouses, dependents, what happens to their benefits.
Right. Okay. So this one is kind of similar. This is a person who earned a not covered pension, right? Not covered by Social Security. They did not pay into Social Security, and they became eligible not for their own Social Security benefit, but for their spousal benefit or survivor's benefit.
Correct.
So similar, but the Social Security benefit is not his or her own, but is her spouse or his spouse, right? So what would happen in this case? Again, that spousal benefit, that survivor's benefit of this person who has a non-Social Security pension, that portion would also be offset. And that would be as much as 2/3 of the other pension. The equivalent of 2/3 of this not-covered pension would be offset. So guess what would happen in some instances? It would wipe out the whole survivors or spousal benefit.
Good to know.
People would not like that.
Yeah.
People felt that they wanted both. So I think that's why they call it the Social Security Fairness Act, because it was unfair. Now, there's something about the formula that Social Security uses that I think I have never explained, never taken the time, because it's a little complicated if you go deeper into these kinds of things. But people with lesser incomes they get a higher percentage in these formulas that the Social Security uses, and simply because they want to help them a little bit so they can get a little bit more than normally if they apply the same percentages as those making more money would get. So they don't apply the same percentages. So the folks with less income, they tend to get a little bit more than what they would if they apply the same percentage. Okay, so let's kind of wrap it up. So this law was signed on January 6th of 2025.
In the nick of time.
Then it does away with the windfall elimination provision in government pension offset. It eliminates the reduction of Social Security benefits while entitled to public pensions from work not covered by Social Security, right? So it eliminates reduction of Social Security, be it the person, his or herself, her own benefits, or the survivors or spousal benefits. In either case, it would reduce the benefits. Well, that is eliminated, no more. So a lot of people are very, very happy about that. And also, I want to mention that there's a retroactive period. So it goes back to January 1 of 2024. So guess what's going to happen with those people that this applies to? What do you think is going to happen with this retroactive business?
They'll get 12 months back.
Yes.
Pay, I guess.
Yes.
Back pay.
Let's just call it back pay, right? They are going to get it. They're going to get it. So they most likely are going to be very happy. To be frank with you, at the moment we are doing this show, I do not know whether it's going to be a lump sum or they're going to do some other way, but they are going to get it, get those benefits. And one thing that is very important before we close, no action is required. Beware of fraudulent offerings. You know how it is, right? Whenever there's a benefit, there's always a phone call.
Those pesky emails.
Yes, there's always an email, a text, a phone call telling you how you can get it faster or this and that. So be aware of that. No one should respond to any of those solicitations because you are not supposed to do anything. Social Security will take care of it. Most likely they'll start either depositing or perhaps sending you a letter. But that information at this moment, I don't have it, so I can't give it. But suffice to say that they need to take no action whatsoever. There you have it.
Well, for some people, that will be very good news.
Definitely, yes.
Thank you for giving us these updates. I know every year there's people out there that they're always wondering, okay, what's going to happen with my Social Security this year? So thank you for bringing us.
Of course, my pleasure.
David, it's always a good time when you're here.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, you heard it. He had some updates for us. This topic might affect you. It might not affect you. But each time he brings us good information that it could affect you or maybe somebody you know. On our screen is a phone number. If you're not sure about something, give him a jingle and he will be glad to answer with the information that he does have. This is Irma from Arizona Barrio Stories and AARP, Arizona Hispanic Connection. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, we will see you soon.